Hey friends, Sunwarper here. Welcome back to the channel. So recently I've been messing around with the new vocal harmonizer plugin Voices from Bleass. And this is a crazy plugin. They call it a vocal harmonizer, but there's a lot you can do with it. You know what? Let me just show you what I've already started with this, and then we're gonna try a little experiment and see if we can make a whole song using just the voice. So I made a couple of, I guess you could call it synth pads using my voice by having these 4 voices where I had one set to 0 but auto-tuned, one set up 3 semitones, one up 7 and one up 12. And then I did another one with the bass and just used Logic's drummer to make a simple drum beat. So let me just show you what it's doing. So yeah, it's pretty crazy what you can do. That was just in a couple minutes of messing around with the plugin. So I'm gonna first break down a little bit about what this plugin can do, walk you through some of the user interface, and then what I wanna try today is use just my voice to make a song. So I'm thinking we'll use Bleass to record some chords, one shots set to a certain note, something like that, and then do some bass like we did in this example. Then we're gonna take those sounds, throw them into the SP404 because I always have to use the SP404 apparently. I just love samplers, what can I say? And then we'll also record in some drum sounds using plosives, things like that. And just to clarify, this can totally be done all within the DAW. I just can't help myself using a sampler, so that's what we're gonna do today. Let's get into it. To the left of the plugin, you'll see that there's a pitch correction. You can select what you want corrected. You can choose the key, and then you can set the scale. I'm gonna stick with natural minor today. There's other sections, performance, MIDI, modulation, and sequencer. So with voices on, you can hear it's doing some pitch correction, but you can also drop the pitch and up the pitch. You can set it back to 0.
You can mess with the formant and get some really
interesting sounds.
And then there's also this setting called flatten, which makes every sound coming in one note, and then you can combine that, and now we can start a chord. And that's what we're going to focus on today. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is, since we're recording into the SP, we just need one shots of chords. All right, so we recorded in a couple. I'm not the best singer, so there's some pitch wavering, but we'll see if we can find something that will work. All right, I think that last one is gonna work if we just add some attack, and we'll do that in the SP. So I'm just gonna cut that one. I'm gonna make some copies, and we're gonna do, I think, a C note so we can get chromatic mode on the SP, like a melody. So I'm gonna duplicate this. Also, don't forget to save. We're gonna drop it down to, let's say, C2, and we'll do formant and some filtering, and then I'm gonna go up an octave as well to C3, and this one will lessen the volume because I want to have kind of a thick bass. That might be perfect. The bass might be the coolest part so far. If we put them all together, this could be total chaos, but let's just see what happens. They should all be the same key. Perfect, that's what I wanted. Now we do need some drums, so let's just do drums, name that, and then we can shape it, drop octaves, do that type of stuff, all in the SP. Okay, this is probably the weirdest thing, or at least the thing I feel most uncomfortable doing for a YouTube video yet, but let's see what it sounds like. Well, it could be something with some octave drops, things like that. I do want to see, actually, what happens if we do throw Bleass on here and use that bass section.
We might have something. Wow.
We might have something, so I'm gonna move all of those into the SP and see what we can do from there. Okay, so we've got everything plugged into the SP. So we've got this main pad, this, which we're gonna have to do some attack to. The bass, let's just turn on some reverb. I like that sound. And I did actually, I think off camera, add some attack, so just so you see it, 52. So it's a long fade. I want it to be a pad. Let's go to chromatic mode. That's the Boards of Canada riff. I'm gonna try to not use that. And then I chopped up the drums already. Right away I can tell that kick is gonna need some shaping, but if you wanna see how I chop up my drums, check out this video. So the first thing right out the bat that I noticed that I need to do, we need to make this kick way more bassier and punchy. So I'm gonna set it to bus 1, make sure that the buses are running together so we get multiple effects. I'm gonna keep actually compressor and cassette on, and then we're gonna add this isolator on bus 1, Let's see how that sounds. Let's resample that in. I'm gonna try one more resample. We're using a little resonance to give some high harmonics to the kick. All right, so we've got some drums. So let's start using chromatic mode and seeing what we can get. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do for this melody is some shaping. There we go. All right, so I think let's do something here. Quickly copy this lead and we'll make a longer lead. We'll go to chromatic mode, go up a whole octave. Here we go. Let's see. So we're gonna just do a bunch of copies. So let's get a lead in on this last one. And then we'll also just in this one, go to TR rec mode, hit remain to go in there. And I'm gonna just do some. So yeah, I think we can call this experiment a success, but let me know in the comments if you agree. I gotta admit that lately I've been feeling a little bit stuck creatively, and I've tried a couple different ways of working around that. There's this generative sample flips video, but this was probably the weirdest, most surreal, but also most rewarding workflow I've tried. There's something so instinctually familiar about the human voice, but then hearing it in these weird ways, it gives us just strange combination of both familiar and new, at least to my ears. Yeah, it was just a really fun process to go through. And as I said at the start, I'm not a trained vocalist. And in fact, I get very nervous singing in front of people, in front of the camera. So this has been an interesting video to film, to say the least. But I'm really happy with how the song came out. And if you want to check out any of these sounds for yourself and put them in your own music, they are available on a new sample pack over at my Sounds by Sunwarper Bandcamp. I appreciate you hanging out, and if you want to see some other ways to use vocals and even isolate any sound from your favorite songs, check out this video next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.